Hey, what's up? It's Comic 95 the Savior, and for this video I will be doing a story time about an event that happened almost a year ago now. So if you've been following me on Instagram, you saw me talk about this before, but I wanted to kind of talk about it in more detail and I guess sort of like tell my story here on YouTube for those of you that didn't already hear the story from me, and to actually be able to speak and put a voice behind it instead of just me frantically writing a little, iPhone notes, posting my journal on Instagram. So first I want to start off by saying I'm fine, don't worry about me. I just wanted to kind of give you guys some insight as to something that goes on here in Japan that I haven't really spoken about on my channel. So as you've already gotten from the title, this will be a story about me recalling someone killing themselves in front of me. And it is the first situation I've ever had like this, thankfully. It's the only one I've experienced so far after having been in Japan for nearly 5 years that I know of. But it completely just shook me up, and when I look back on it, I think I might have actually experienced this at least one other time, but I'm not 100% sure about that because I wasn't right there to see it on the tracks. So this whole thing was a total freak accident, so let me just go ahead and get into it. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that at the beginning of last year, during the springtime, I stupidly quit my job. I got super stressed out due to online teaching. I got into it with my boss and I just suddenly quit. And I have a separate story time that's coming up for you on that situation that I will talk about later. But while I was looking for another job to replace that one, I came across another full-time job that wasn't my dream situation, but it was an after-school program. So the way that this job worked was, it had you arrive in the morning to do prep work and clean the school and basically get everything together while you wait for the students to come, in which they have an all-day after-school program that starts from about 2 o'clock. So you spend about 3 hours just cleaning and doing prep work, etc. Which sounds nice, but honestly the job was hell, and I'll talk about that in another story time in the future. I haven't recorded that yet. So anyway, I didn't start this job until 11 o'clock, and I was living roughly about an hour away, and I would stupidly always wait until the last minute to leave. At the time, I was pretty much staying with my boyfriend, so I was leaving from his place most of the time. Rarely would I be leaving directly from my house, but this particular day, I was leaving from his house, and I take the Chuo line from my boyfriend's house. And from the Chuo line, I would get off at Homachi Station, and I would transfer to the Midotsuji line back when I was working at this job, and I would need to take that train to get to Shin Osaka. There was another way to get there in which I could have gone to Umeda Station, but I never took that route because to me it was longer, the train is more busy, and I was just more familiar with the Midotsuji line, taking the Osaka Metro versus taking the JR line. It was my personal preference. So, and really, I could have taken the Hankyu line too, because this particular company was located near Ibaraki Station. So anyway, on this day, I was literally going to be making it there either just on time or I'd probably be about 5 to 10 minutes late, and I'd already gotten in trouble for being late with this company before. It ran really old-fashioned Japanese style, super strict about time. My management did not like me, and nor did one of my coworkers who I had to work very closely with, so that wasn't quite exactly ideal either. But yeah, so anyway, I get to Homachi Station, I'm rushing, and I'm trying to walk further down on the platform because I know that if I go further down, there's less people that will be, on the train car right there. Because if you've been in Japan for a while, and if you know how city stuff works, anybody that's from a city in the US, you know how this goes too. Generally, people are lazy. They like to get on the train wherever it's closest to the stairs. And people also like to be on the train to get off board wherever the stairs are closest to. So it works best if you get inside of a spot in which people are not getting on or off, or if it's a really, really, really busy train like the Midotsuji, you can technically get on the train at the part where everybody's trying to get off next to the stairs, because there'll be so many people exiting the train at such a busy station like Homachi Station that there's definitely going to be room for you to sit, stand, whatever you're trying to do. I like to stand by the door. I ain't got time for racist Japanese people, or I don't like being stuck and having trouble having to say excuse me to 50 people to get off. I'm also not that lazy. Do you really need to sit down if you're only going to be sitting for 1 minute? It's not that serious. So yeah. So anyway, I was already running late, and I got to the part where I was going down the stairs, and I'm just trying to rush ahead, get as far down as I can so that, I have a spot to stand, because I like to stand and be by the door so I can easily get off when my stop comes up. Even although normally, since I'm going from Homachi to Shin Osaka Station, normally a lot of people get off the train at Umeda Station, so a seat will free up, and in that case I will normally sit down because it is a little bit of a ride. It's about, I think, 10-15 minutes or so. So anyway, yeah, I got to this part where this is super dangerous, but there's like a huge wall and there's like a double wide staircase for people to go on both sides up and on both sides down on that staircase. And as I was getting ready to like pass by that area, this Japanese girl just flew into me. And mind you, it's super busy still, even although it's after the initial rush hour, because it is Homachi Station and it's still like in the morning. It's not quite exactly lunchtime yet, so things haven't completely cooled down. It's still like 10-ish o'clock. I got pissed off. And so this all happened in just a split second. I like kind of looked back like, damn, like, can you slow the fuck down? Like, I'm angry at her because I'm thinking like, I'm near the tracks. I'm by that like yellow line thing, supposed to like help keep blind people from falling over and to kind of give you an idea as to how far away you should be back from, the train tracks. Before I could even like think in my mind as to what just happened, I realized that someone pushed into her that made her push into me. So I'm mad about what happened, but again, I'm not focusing. I'm hearing that the train is coming. I can hear that the train is coming. So I'm just trying to walk down. I'm pissed off. And before I know it, I hear this loud, like, thump noise. And I can still hear that noise, like, in my mind. Me getting angry, that thump noise that I heard, a guy had just threw himself onto the train track and committed suicide. And thankfully, I was not physically watching exactly as it happened. This all happened out of the corner of my eye. The sound was so loud, horrific, and disturbing. I literally just stopped in my tracks and turned. You heard the train go over his body. And to make it even more disturbing, when I like stopped to see what was going on, I could see the body underneath the train. And whatever he was holding, like, I don't know if he had like a gift in his hands or if it was just his briefcase or what it was, but whatever it was this white box that had some sort of black calligraphy, like written kanji. I have no idea what it said on it. And it took everything in me to be respectful, because it wasn't a matter of being disrespectful, new age, whatever. But of course, when you see and experience things, you naturally want to take pictures of it. And so I honestly thought for a split second, take a photo of this, like this is a once in a lifetime thing. And I'm not trying to be the next Logan Paul per se, but it just like freaked me out. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And it was so weird because I actually saw where the body was before anybody else did. In fact, even after the emergency team came, like nobody knew where the body was. So before I get ahead of myself, the part that really like bothered me the most, I guess, was that after the whole situation happened, it was pretty quiet. And all you heard was the emergency alarm go off. The train turned off the power, the lights went out, and the conductors like went through all of the train cars and pulled down the blinds so that nobody could see anything. And eventually, the police came, the fire department came, they had some emergency team come to try to retrieve the body from the tracks. At first, they were yelling his name to see if he could respond, if he was alive. They brought down a flashlight, tried to see if they could find the body. I was just completely speechless. Like, I knew where the body was, but like I couldn't even talk. And I knew he was gone. And, they were calling for him. He wasn't even answering. And so this all happened literally in just seconds. Like, it wasn't like minutes and hours or something. And there were Japanese people around me that were doing the talking and that, spoke to the police and let them know what they saw and what happened. And I felt so much guilt over me, like I said, because my first reaction was I felt disappointed in myself for getting upset that somebody bumped into me, and I'm worried about them pushing me off onto the tracks. And then I was upset at, the woman that bumped into me, because I'm like, look, I get it, it's rush hour, but the train hasn't even come yet. Like, y'all freaking out for no reason. This train comes every 2 minutes. And just thinking to myself, like, wow, like, this person wanted to die. They wanted to end their lives. They didn't want to be here anymore. And here I am selfishly thinking about myself. But I can't help but to play devil's advocate, no pun intended, and just think, like, that could have been me. Like, what if this person, pushed into me too hard and I fell off onto the tracks? Like, that was really scary to think of, because even if it wasn't his intention to take other people out with him, for lack of a better word, I hate to say it like that, but that could have definitely happened. And here I am, busting my ass and sweating like a pig, trying to make sure I get to work, even though they're not going to be grateful anyway for this measly paycheck. And I could have potentially lost my own life. And then it's just sad just thinking that for these people, that they feel like they have no way out, that their solution, instead of moving to another country or getting another job or starting over their life and getting new friends and family, whatever, it's just, I can't handle the situation, I want to end it. And I'm not putting the blame on the people that feel this way, but rather I'm putting the blame on Japan. I think it's really sad and scary and disturbing that this country has built itself up where they don't want to talk about mental health issues. You're seen as weak for having things like depression or feeling suicidal. You're seen as selfish. And that's exactly how people treated this. They give it no coverage because the excuse is they don't want to encourage people to be copycats. So if you do kill yourself like that, they don't give you news coverage unless it's like super like newsworthy per se. Somebody just committed suicide doesn't make the news here. Even if it's at a major train station like Homachi, it wasn't worth it. It was not publicized anywhere, not the newspaper, not the local news, nothing. In fact, the only place that had information about it was, I follow a Twitter account that actually gives updates on all of the crashes and incidents like that happen every single day, as well as Yahoo News Japan, which is, their online thing, but it's not an official news source per se. So part of me gets it, but I think it's sad because ultimately all it does is it shows people how insignificant, unimportant, I know it's not really a word, but how little you matter. That they're more concerned about avoiding giving you a name and drawing attention to you. It's not like you're a burglar or, a killer to other people. Like, this is you not being able to take it, yourself. Feeling like you're going through everything in this life, in this world by yourself. And this comes from somebody who personally struggles with mental health issues. I am somebody that struggles with depression. I'm somebody that has felt suicidal, depression or whatever. And those feelings come back to me every once in a while. Something you have to learn how to deal with and cope with. And I don't believe in medicine for it. I've been on it before, and I'm not going to get into my 2 cents on that. But for some people, that is what works for them. And so I'm not going to knock that. But I just think it's really sad this country would rather completely ignore it and act like it's not an issue, like it's not a problem, than try to do something about it and give their own people help. And so that really just got me, that not only did they not give it any attention, but they literally just closed down the train line for a few hours, and then before you know it, service is back up and running as usual. They don't close anything. They don't have to change the tracks, nothing. Just clean things up a little bit. If the train can run, the electricity's still working, the power's on, let's make money. And I get it, you're not going to build a whole new train station every time somebody has an accident or kills themselves on purpose, but it's just sad and disturbing just thinking of it like that, and just thinking about how little protection and safety and security there is for yourself. Because like I said, if someone's intention was to take me out, he could have easily pushed me down, because like I said, that dude used some supernatural force. The girl that bumped into me, she was a little Japanese chick. She was maybe 4'11" or 5 feet tall, but she hit me so hard, I got pissed off, because I'm like, dang, don't you see that I'm right near the yellow line? You about to push me onto the tracks. And I'm 3 times, if not 4 times, this girl's weight. So I was thinking dang. And so then I realized somebody else had pushed her into me. But then it doesn't help that they don't apologize either, neither of them. And then before I know it, this guy's, dead. So, yeah, the whole thing was just crazy and scary. And then seeing them have to collect the body, they grabbed this huge blue tarp to cover it, to make it where nobody could see it or take pictures or videos. And they, brought up the body and ran up the stairs with the body and everything. And it was just such a strange, morbid, scary situation. And for a long time, I avoided taking the Minosuji line. I didn't want to go to Homachi Station anymore. And I honestly just turned around and didn't go to work. And that made it bad, too, because I was already running late. My job didn't believe me. It just sounded like a garbage excuse for why I didn't want to go there. And then they punished me when I came back to work. So in Japan, a popular punishment they do at companies is, instead of them openly saying you're being punished, they have you watch somebody else do your job. As an American, I'm sorry, that's not punishment to me. That's hey, I'm getting the same pay. I'm still working. I don't care. Do my work for me. In fact, I love to get in trouble every day. But I knew the deeper meaning. It was supposed to have been insulting, that I'm being asked to come to work still and watch somebody else show me how to do my job, basically. So I know that they didn't believe me. It just sounded like a garbage excuse. And that just added insult to injury and made the situation hurt more. And so like me even trying to explain my close call with death, so to speak, just sounded like BS to everybody. Because in Japan, Japanese culture, white lies are super, super common. I've talked about this before, how I, broke my back. I had a broken tailbone, or fractured, because you can't really break it. I fractured it. And because white lies are so common, nobody believed me. My boss didn't believe me. My private students didn't believe me. They thought that it was just me making up an excuse to call off from work and to cancel my lesson. But it was like, no, you don't understand. I'm in an excruciating amount of pain. I cannot move right now, and it happens at random. Sometimes my back is fine temporarily. Other times I can't do basic things like lift my leg. You don't understand. And I was so young back then. I was only like 22 years old. So I was like, sure. So it was just really messed up. But it's really sad how this country handles mental health. That they don't talk about it. They don't believe in it. There's like counseling, things like that. Those things don't exist. And I think it makes it so much harder. And this is why it's hard to make friends here and have successful relationships here in Japan. Because people don't know how to talk about the way that you think and the way that you feel. And they're not open with anything. Everything is either keep it to yourself and hide it, or lie about it and pretend like everything is okay. Like, you do one or the other or both. Like, people are never open about how they feel. And being open and honest with your feelings and your thoughts and opinions, it does two things. One, it makes you be seen as weak. And two, you're seen as a burden to society. People get upset with you because it makes you not only seem like a burden, but you're seen as rude and disrespectful because you're pushing off your problems on other people. And in their mind, it's like, okay, I'm sorry to hear that, but why are you telling me this? Like, I can't do anything about that. Like, why are you making me uncomfortable? Like, people will literally stop hanging out with you, stop talking to you, not want to date you because you feel depressed, because you feel suicidal. And don't get me wrong, nobody wants to be around a negative Nancy, somebody that's super sad, super depressed all the time. Totally understand. But if somebody's, calling out for help, and your response to them being in need of you or in need of help, or them talking about how they want to end their lives, your response is stop saying that, or don't say that, or okay, I don't want to be your friend anymore. Gosh, that'll push you even further over the edge. So it's just really sad, really scary, really messed up. But I'm sorry I don't have any type of fancy story time. I just want to get that story out there that people most certainly do kill themselves here in Japan. Suicide is an issue. And I will say it doesn't happen as often as, people make you think, like when you're watching Western media, etc. But it does get covered up when it does happen. So who knows? It might be going on a lot more than you or I know. And I will also add that more so, not just the matter of people killing themselves, but the method that they do it is, in my opinion, much more culturally different than in the U.S. From my experience in the U.S., when people do want to end their lives, it more so seems to happen where it's something done in private and not in a public setting. Whereas in Japan, for whatever reason, I guess because it's easier and there's not really access to things like guns, it seems like people prefer to do it in a public setting, whether it be jumping off of a building or, getting hit by a train or whatever the case is. People just don't normally take their own lives at home, it seems. Or at least the ones that do happen in public definitely scar you more because there's more people around and you might actually be there to witness it. But all this really made me think is that you never know what people are really going through. You should always be really careful with how you talk to people. And even though it's not culturally normal and acceptable here, I always try to make, for my Japanese friends, make it very clear, known to anyone that I teach and when I talk to, that I'm there for them. If they need somebody to talk to, that, they can always speak to me, and that I always want to hang out with them, and I care about them, and I love them, because you never know what someone's really battling or going through in their mind. And especially for Japanese men, because there's so much pressure on them to, be these hard, strong, tough men, and you're pretty much taught that you're nothing in life if you can't speak English, didn't get into a good school, don't have a good career, you're not tall, you're not attractive, because basically you're gonna spend the rest of your life alone. Because, sorry, just keeping it real, like, women care about education, they care about money, and if you think that I'm bad, you should see how Japanese girls are here. That's just culture here. And if you don't live up to people's expectations, you can't do that. You have a few options. Either you turn to joining a gang like the Yakuza, you just give up on life and decide to end it, or you find some other type of criminal, whatever type, crime type way to live out your life. And, you live a life full of loneliness and depression. And not everybody goes over the edge and actually takes their own life. But a lot of people want to. They just haven't been given the opportunity, thank God. But it's really sad and really scary that people feel this way, and that so few people seem to really care and want to even do anything to help these people out. So it's scary, it's sad, and if anything, I really wish Japan would do something about that. I really wish there was more awareness being brought about mental health issues, because they're not just an issue with one person. It's not something that's private that only affects one person. Someone that's struggling with mental health, it affects everyone around them, their family, their friends, their coworkers, anyone that they're, their clients, their students, anyone that they're dealing with. And I feel like it's sad knowing that there's so many lives that could have been saved had they known that somebody did care about them, did want to listen to them, or just knowing that even if you feel like your life is absolutely awful and that, there's no reason to live, think about all the things you're going to miss out on by not still continuing to go. Like, I think about myself. I've wanted to die since I was like 11 and 12 years old. And had I taken my own life and done the things that I thought about doing, even when I became a young adult at, 18, 19, 20 years old, I wouldn't be here right now to make these YouTube videos. There's so many of you that I would have never met. There's so many people that, I would have never dealt with or met or dated or experienced, being friends with, and jobs that I wouldn't have had. I would have never experienced being a teacher. I would have never came to Japan. Like, all of these dreams and stuff that I had. I always wanted to, be a celebrity, to have my little YouTube channel, like doing things like that. I would have never experienced that had I taken my life back when I wanted to. Like I said, I still fight, deal with those issues, etc., where I have thoughts where I think I want to do these things again. And I always remind myself, no matter how bad your life gets, look at how much you have ahead of you, that you have no idea how great things are going to be. And there's always going to be bad days. And that's the other problem too. Like, people make it seem like having a bad day or a bad experience is your life, and that it's not normal. Being angry and sad is just as normal as being happy and excited. And we don't talk about that enough. It is 100% normal to cry. It is 100% normal to feel angry. You don't need to be happy every single day. You're not going to be. And as the saying goes, and I hate to say it because it sounds toxic, but it's true. If you never have bad days or bad experiences, you can't really appreciate the good days and good experiences, because all you've ever had was good. You don't know how to truly be grateful for that. So, not to wish bad things upon you, but you have to understand and accept that. And you have to recognize that only you are in control of your own happiness. Only you are in control of your own life. What I did to make myself happy was I got out of America. I got out of my house. Not leaving the country is not the end-all solution. I felt honestly probably crappier being in Japan than I did in the U.S. And your family and your household and your city and your friends are not all of the U.S. But sometimes all it takes is just moving to another city, moving to another state, starting another job. Do not stay miserable and trapped wherever you are. Don't let people, society, this world make you feel like you're trapped in your relationship, you're trapped with your job, you're trapped with your family, you're trapped with whatever. If you don't like your surroundings, you have to get up and you have to change it, because nobody's going to do that for you. Nobody can do that for you but you. You have to make that decision. And sometimes you have to do it more than once. Look at me. I've been in Japan through everything. I've shared all my embarrassing stories with you guys, from being fired to being sued and evictions and all type of crazy crap that I've been through. And if I let the negative people saying racist, crazy, mean things to me in the comments, and let people bullying me and tell them, oh, go back to your home country, do whatever, or why are you still here, you're ugly, like this, like whatever, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't have any of the opportunities that I've had. But I recognize that there's more to life than these people's opinions. There's more to life than my bad experiences, my bad days, my bad times right now. And things will get better. They're going to get better. And only I can make them better. You just have to hang on and hang in there, and things will get better. But again, you have to actually do something. A lot of people sit around feeling depressed, and it's like, what are you doing to make your life better? Nothing. You can't find a job. How many applications have you put out? 5. When was the last one? 3 weeks ago, a month ago, a year ago. Okay, ever thought about starting your own business? Yeah, I want to, be a graphic designer or whatever. Okay, the idea sounds nice, but what's going to make you money right now? You ever thought about doing babysitting, lawn work, things that people are always going to need that require no particular set of skills? That's how I started off. When I had no job, I was babysitting. It gave me money. You do what you have to do to get to where you want to be. It doesn't have to be illegal stuff. I'm not telling you to sell drugs or something crazy. I started off as a babysitter. I had no job. I had no car. It gave me experience. It gave me money. Do it. Do what you have to do. It made me happy. Find something that makes you happy and do it. Don't let this world kill you. So that's it. I'm sorry the story kind of got all over the place and started getting motivational to you. But I just wanted to end it saying that, like, you cannot let your current situation dictate the rest of your life or make you choose to end your life. And I really wish Japan would teach their people that. I wish more people understood and knew that here. And I wish people learned about things like depression and mental health issues before they become adults. I feel like this conversation needs to be happening once students get into, at least at the very latest, junior high school. But they should not be leaving high school without having ever been talked to about this and taught about, what's wrong with bullying and things like that. And so I just think it's really messed up that people feel trapped and stuck in their job and feel like they can't do anything to change their circumstances when you can. And that's just Satan talking to you. You most certainly are valuable. You are worth it, and you are not a loser. You are not this bad, awful, horrible being. You could change your circumstances. Just because you have a bad job now, you have a bad education right now, doesn't mean you cannot get more and get better for yourself. You don't have to have a college education. You don't have to have a car. You don't have to be a 6-foot-tall man to be successful. And same thing goes for women. So I'm done with this story. I just wanted to share about my incident that happened. So like I said, I'm fine. I'm over it now. I just thought that it was such a culture shock and scary situation to me that there was no news coverage. Things just went completely back to normal. Nobody talked about it. And as I was saying, like, not only did they not cover it, but people actually got upset over it. I looked at Yahoo and looked at the comments, and people were complaining about how, because this person killed themselves, that they were late for work or that they missed their exams for high school and that and the other. And I'm like, it was a parent complaining about her daughter missing out on her exam. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how selfish and inconsiderate. Somebody lost their life, and you're incapable of showing any sympathy, any empathy. All you can do is think of how this negatively affected you. Wow, this is why people don't want to be alive. So it's really hard not to get angry at people that are ignorant like this. But you have to just remember, they're just that. They're ignorant. They don't know any better. So again, I'm done. Sorry for my crazy all over the place story, but it happens in Japan. People don't talk about how they feel. People choose to end their lives, and unfortunately most people don't really care about it. They're seen as a burden to society, and even if things like mental health centers were to be open and counseling, etc., that's not even the solution, because Japanese people would not go to it. Those places exist here. They do exist. There's not a lot of them, but they exist, and there's even free services in, I think, most major cities. But again, most people don't care to use them. It's seen as shameful and embarrassing. And honestly, I think there's probably more foreigners taking advantage of mental health options here than Japanese people. It's just not a thing here. They've been taught that it makes you weak culturally, just like religion, whether it's Christianity, Islam, whatever. It's seen as something that weak people use, and that people that can't think for themselves is cult-like. So that explains something right there. Like, you have nothing to live for. You don't have a religion. You're taught that having mental health issues makes you weak and selfish. What's the purpose of being alive then? So yeah, I feel so bad that people feel and think this way. I don't know what the real solution is besides just to educate people when they're younger and to have TV shows and maybe even anime or something. Make some type of fun way to address these situations. But honestly, if not for American celebrities, I think the majority of these people probably wouldn't know a thing about mental health issues. It seems like the Japanese people that are aware of mental health issues are the ones that have gone abroad. I have Japanese friends that are living in Australia and in the US, and one of the biggest reasons why they say that they like living abroad is actually because of that. They feel like they are understood more, their mental health is taken seriously, and that they can live a more stress-free life. They can do what they want to. They can get tattoos, they can get piercings, they can, be themselves. And so it's really funny hearing somebody's story, in reverse, because normally for us as foreigners, we feel like going to Japan is our end-all, fix-all solution. Whereas for them, it's like, why would you want to come here? It's like being in prison here. It's very restrictive. You can't dress the way you want to. You can't do what you want to. Everything is about trying to be the same. So that's something interesting to think about. So I'm done. That's that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for those of you that checked in on me and prayed for me. I'm doing so much better now. I'm fine. I've taken the train since then. I honestly still can hear it in my head every once in a while when I'm on that train. I kind of feel paranoid and freaked out. I've kind of freaked out a little bit when I get around yellow lines. I'm more cautious about, trying to avoid walking around the edge, but I'm fine. And I'm definitely more patient with the people around me instead of being in a rush. So I'm done. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, leave a comment down below. If you're living in Japan or you've been here and had a similar experience, let me know what happened with you. Have you ever seen somebody in their life here? Have you heard of any stories like that? What have been your experiences dealing with mental health issues here in Japan? So please share that in the comments. Let's talk about it. And other than that, I would appreciate if you would follow me on Instagram and Twitter at comic95. You can add me on Snapchat at comicthesavior. And yeah, you can also visit my website at comic95.com. If you haven't already, again, please subscribe, and the links for everything are down in the description box. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will see you later. Bye.